So in this video, we're going to go through the various Medigap plan options available to you. Just to bring you up to speed from what our original Medicare video stated, a Medigap plan is not an insurance policy itself. It is a way to help you pay for various out-of-pocket expenditures that your original Medicare insurance does not cover, such as deductibles, copays, coinsurance, etc. And so there are a number of plans available, and they're all mapped out in this chart here. So Medigap plans are categorized as a letter. And so there are plans A through N, and they all cover a different amount of certain services and payments that original Medicare would not cover. And so we're going to start here at the top with Medicare Part A coinsurance and hospital costs. This is the most important coverage and payment that you would have with original Medicare. As we went over in our original video, if you are in the hospital for a significant amount of time, the out-of-pocket cost can get fairly significant. And so if we remember back these specific numbers, after you hit your deductible for an inpatient hospital stay for Part A, the day 1 through 60 coinsurance amount is $0. But once we hit day 61 and go all the way through days 90, your coinsurance goes up to $352 per day. Once we hit days 91 and beyond, you have a $704 coinsurance per each lifetime reserve day after day 90, of which you have 60 days of those lifetime reserve days. After those reserve days are gone, you are responsible for 100% of the costs. And so that can be a significant out-of-pocket expenditure if you are in the hospital for 4 months and beyond. And so this is the most important coverage that we're going to go over right here, because this is your biggest financial exposure if there would be a serious incident and you would be in the hospital for a number of months. And so this is, the most robust coverage that we're going to look at and what is going to make up the majority of the premium for all of these plans. So as you'll see, every single plan on here would pay 100% of that coinsurance and hospital costs. And it would pay up to an additional 365 days after Medicare benefits are used. So this is really, really important. And what makes up the bulk of the premium for all of these plans. And so very robust coverage, 100% across the board for all the plans. Medicare Part B coinsurance or copayment. So the Medicare Part B coinsurance is 20%. After that, the deductible is met of $198. You're responsible for a 20% coinsurance moving forward after that. So the vast majority of plans available are going to cover 100% of that coinsurance, with the exception being plans K and L at 50% and 75%. The next one we want to cover is blood. So this is not something that we really covered in the original Medicare video, but something that is important to go over. So the vast majority of us, if we are going to require blood, are going to have much less than 3 pints. Very few people would require more than 3 pints. So it's important to still state that, for the first 3 pints, every plan on here, with the exceptions of plans K and L, would pay 100% of those first 3 pints. For Part A, hospice care coinsurance or copayment. If we remember back to the original Medicare video, you generally pay $0 for hospice care. However, there are exceptions for certain pain relief drugs, respite care, and room and board when you are at home or another facility where you live, like a nursing home. And so the vast majority of plans are, again, going to pay 100% of that coinsurance, with the exceptions being plans K and L. Moving down to the skilled nursing facility care coinsurance. Now, this is where it starts to change from plan to plan. And so the skilled nursing facility care coinsurance, if we remember back to the original Medicare video, you pay for days 1 through 20 a $0 coinsurance per day. Once we hit days 21, however, your coinsurance jumps up to $176 per day, and that extends for days 21 all the way through 100. Once we hit days 101 and beyond, you are responsible for all costs. So again, just like an inpatient hospital stay, if you are in a skilled nursing facility for a significant amount of time, that can be a very large bill coming your way for what original Medicare does not cover. And so this is where it starts to change from plan to plan and what is covered. And so for plans A and B, this coinsurance is not covered. It starts to pick up at plans C through G. We're at 100%. For plans K, we're at 50%, L 75%, and then M and N are both at 100%. The Part A deductible. Remember that the Part A deductible for 2020 is $1,408. And again, this is the deductible that has to be met before the insurance even kicks in. And so the vast majority of plans available are going to cover at least some of that. Plan A, however, does not cover any of that, but plans B through G are at 100% of that 1,408. Plans K, 50%, Plan L, 75%, M 50%, and N 100%. The Part B deductible. The Part B deductible is $198. And again, that's the deductible that has to be met before the Part B insurance kicks in. So the vast majority of plans, as we can see here, do not cover that deductible, with the exceptions being plans C and F. Every other plan does not cover that deductible. The Part B excess charges. This is something that can be a little confusing, so we want to make sure that everyone's on the same page here. So there are a couple different ways that doctors who accept Medicare patients can go. So there are doctors who accept Medicare patients who accept what's called Medicare assignment, which means that they accept the rate that Medicare will pay for a specific service. Now, according to statistics, about 95% of doctors who accept Medicare patients fall into that. They will accept the Medicare rate. However, there are a small percentage of doctors who accept Medicare patients who do not accept the Medicare assignment or the Medicare rate that Medicare has agreed to pay for a specific service. And so the doctors that do not accept that Medicare assignment but do accept Medicare patients can bill what's called an excess charge, up to 15% more for what a Medicare would normally pay out for a specific service. And so that excess charge can be put back to the customer. And so the vast majority of plans do not cover that excess charge. However, there are two plans that do. Plans F and G are at 100% for that. Now, again, going back to the excess charges, the vast majority of doctors who are accepting Medicare patients do accept what's called Medicare assignment. They will accept that Medicare rate. About 95% of them do. A very small majority won't. However, there are doctors out there who do not accept those Medicare rates. And so if you are consistently seeing a doctor who does accept Medicare but does not accept Medicare assignment, this excess charge could apply to you. So it's really important, if that is the case, that you maybe consider plans F or G. Foreign travel emergency. If you are going to be traveling abroad frequently, it's really important that we pay attention to which plans will cover you and which plans will not. And so it's apparent that, about 50% of the plans will have some sort of coverage in here. So for plans C through G, 80% up to the plan limits. And then for M and N, the same thing. But plans K, L, A, and B do not cover that foreign travel emergency in coordination with original Medicare. A couple things to note here at the bottom. Plans F and G also offer a high deductible plan in some states, and Michigan is one of those states. So with this option, you must pay for Medicare covered costs, such as coinsurance, copayments, deductibles, up to the deductible amount of $2,340 in 2020 before your policy pays anything. And it's also really important to note that plans C and F won't be available to people who are newly eligible for Medicare on or after January 1 of 2020. So really important to note that for those of us who are going to be getting on Medicare for the first time and newly enrolled, Plan F is not available. So very, very important. For plans K and L, after you meet your out-of-pocket yearly limit and your yearly Part B deductible, which in 2020 is $198, the Medigap plan pays 100% of covered services for the rest of the calendar year. And those out-of-pocket limits are listed right here. Plan N pays 100% of the Part B deductible, except for a copayment of up to $20 for some office visits and up to a $50 copayment for major emergency room visits that don't result in an inpatient admission. Again, these are just some small things to note for the specific plans. And so overall, these are the options that are available for you. The options that obviously cover a higher percentage of more of these services and payments are going to be a higher premium plan. Payment or plans such as A and B that cover less options are going to be a lower premium. So really important that we budget correctly so we can have the correct plan in place for our budget moving forward. So that's everything that I have for you. Thank you very much.